Yeah. This film confused the hell out of me. I didn't not know who anyone was. I didn't know what was going on most of the time. Didn't know that was Oscar Isaac until the credits. Hello and welcome to HAZMAT, the only show that is consistently ranked at about a C.
That's not bad.
It's not bad.
Not good.
It's not good either. It's right down the middle.
Yeah.
That's where you want to be.
It's like that thing from, what was it, the Chernobyl. The Chernobyl thing. It's not great, not terrible.
This is why we're at a C. Because we mentioned Chernobyl
C for Chernobyl.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Harry.
And today, we're ranking X-Men films tier list style. Trying something a bit new on the channel. We're going to go over into the tier list lane. This is going to be all our videos from now on. So we're done with the commentaries.
We're
done with the monthly thing.
I'm not watching films.
We're not watching anymore. We've done them all.
We've watched every film. So we actually, in the background, while all that stuff was going on, we actually went and we just watched everything.
Yeah. We've recorded it all.
Don't know what to do anymore.
We have recorded it all, and they're all going to be coming out eventually. Yeah. So every video from now on is pre-recorded, but
just speed round film.
Speed ran it all. No, we're kidding. This is a little extra thing we're going to try and work in. We've been wanting to do some of these for a little while. We'll just see how it goes. Should be fun. Yeah. It's a fun way to rank stuff. And we've just watched all the X-Men films. We've just been through them all in some commentary videos. So we figured, what better time than to rank some X-Men films that we just watched right now.
Well, maybe if there was like another X-Men thing coming out, would be a better time.
Yeah, maybe if there was it was really relevant for the time.
When is X-Men 97 2 coming out?
That would have been a good time to release this. But oh well. Here's how we're going to be ranking them. Of course, at the top we've got X.
X for the best.
Best one.
The best.
We've got Magneto.
Yeah, it's
Magneto.
It's still an A through
B
system. We just flavoured it.
Yeah,
we just flavoured it a little bit.
We've got I read that as breast, but that's not what that says. Then we've got C for Cyclops.
I think Cyclops is the gold standard of middle.
Yeah, if we were doing a character tier list, which maybe we should do at some point,
he'd be the first one we do.
Definition of middle,
right in the middle.
Yeah,
even though it's James Marsden, we love James Marsden.
We do. We love James Marsden. Character wise, not great. We didn't really care about young Scott in the films when he was
young Cyclops
and
then he eventually grows up and moves in with 4 of his friends, and they just play video games and watch fantasy movies and comic books and stuff.
Yeah, and then obviously Mystique lives over the hallway.
And
then we fall in love. And then we've got D for Dazzler, who I've never heard of.
Yeah, Dazzler is just Jubilee but worse.
Right, okay. So that's perfect.
I'm pretty sure they both just have the concussive lights power.
Right. And bottom we've got Ink.
Fucking.
That's shit.
So we'll start off, we'll go through in release order, because that's how we watched it. It just seems the simplest way of kind of going through it.
Absolutely. Chronological order in real life. If we're talking real life.
Real life, yeah. If you talk about the X-Men timeline, oh boy.
Oh, boy. Now, yeah. That's going to get crazy. Right.
Let's start off.
Number 1. It feels weird to not be holding a mic, so I'm going to be doing a lot more.
A lot of hand talking. We're finally free.
We're free. Okay, X-Men number 1. One of the best right out of the gate, to be quite honest.
It's like a gold standard just superhero movie in general, I think.
Yeah, we thought it aged pretty well. I hadn't seen a lot of these before we did this, so there's not a lot of nostalgic value for me here. I'm kind of talking purely from when we watched them this last year or so. It seems to have aged well despite being from 2000. Because a lot of the superhero films around that time haven't aged as well.
We saw a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and it is less reliant on special effects than a lot of superhero movies are.
Yeah.
A lot of those stunts and stuff were done using wire work and actual stunt performers, which is why it kind of holds up the way it does.
Yeah.
I know at the time it was a big complaint. The costume design was a big complaint. They hadn't quite figured out how to take the over-the-top ridiculousness of comic costumes and translate it into live action while still keeping it, because they have the whole the fully black kind of zip-up suits.
Yeah.
Instead of the classic blue and yellow thing going on.
I think we talked about that. Yeah, it's hard to make some of the comic costumes look cool in real life, because just by definition they're bright and cartoonish.
You have
because
to
they're
change
in a comic.
it. Yeah.
And they do reference that a little bit with a little cheeky
some digs.
Yeah. So honestly, I'm thinking it's pretty high up, A if not X.
I was thinking it's definitely like it's excellent, but I think there's ones up here that you'd reserve that for.
I think you're right. We can't start with an X out the gate.
I don't think we can immediately go, so I think it's fair to say that's an A.
I'm too positive about things.
Yeah.
Every single one, I'm like,
but
X.
That's an A. Yeah, that's an easy A.
Solid. Absolutely solid film. X2.
I mean, I already know where I'm putting this.
This is one of your favorites.
I know exactly where I'm putting it.
Yeah, you established pretty quickly this was one of your favorites.
Yes, I love this movie.
I think I really liked it, probably not quite as strongly as you did. I don't know if I do prefer it more than the first one. So this might be our first disagreement.
I think in terms of like...
about anything.
In terms of like actual like in-depth kind of character development.
Yeah.
This is the strongest one in that original trilogy. It does kind of hone in on the whole Wolverine backstory. So, I mean, if you're someone that's looking in more to sort of enjoy the actual full team experience, it could be a drawback. But this is the movie that, for me, I think really establishes Wolverine as the face of the series.
I agree with that.
And you get Nightcrawler in this one.
Oh, that's true. Nightcrawler's one of my faves.
Nightcrawler's great.
Yeah, this is the... Hang on, which one is it? It's the one, where Wolverine discovers his, like, past...
Yeah, he goes back to Alkali Lake. Stryker's the main villain. It has I can't remember her name, but the fingernail lady.
Oh yes. I mean, if you want to put it in X, I'm happy to rescind because I don't have anything against it.
Yeah.
So I'm happy.
I'd fight every day for this.
Yeah.
To be X.
Next up, we've got X-Men: The Last Stand.
X3.
X3. They should have just kept going with that.
Immediately out the gate, it's going to be lower than the other two. It's the weakest of the originals.
Yes, I agree with that. But I think in hindsight, it still beats out a lot of the later ones.
It's definitely not as bad as people thought it was.
Yeah.
But I think that's because it came out at a time when superhero movies were still something of a novelty. There weren't too many sort of big Hollywood superhero movies outside of this. And Spider-Man.
Yeah, to get to 3 was like a crazy feat.
Yeah,
I feel like at that point.
What, like 2007 maybe that Last Stand came out?
Something like that.
So I think it still preceded the MCU.
Yeah. Which is crazy because they just seem like such a different era.
Yeah.
But then I always think of MCU as like 2010s. I forget that it's like all the way back in 2008. Yeah, back then, to get a trilogy was quite a feat. Nowadays, if you don't get more than 2, then you're fucked.
Yeah,
you're out.
Cooked immediately.
Forgetting about you.
Yeah, the original X-Men trilogy and the original Spider-Man trilogy, I think, was sort of the blueprint. And then the MCU came along and kind of refined the formula.
Yeah. And they've all aged like quite well, I think, relatively.
Yeah.
I think it probably fits nicely in Beast.
This is somewhere around a B or a C.
Yeah. I would go B because I like it a lot more than some of the ones that are about to come that I think will end up in C.
Which, they'll either be C or D. So I think, fair enough. I think
it's higher than C. I think it's higher than C.
That's a B.
Because I think it does the Dark Phoenix one better than Dark Phoenix.
Yes. Yeah.
At least. At least it does that. Next up, we've got X-Men Origins Wolverine. Infamous film.
Yeah, the first one I think is going to be pretty not good.
Yeah. This is the first absolutely out of the game not good film. I don't think I knew it when we were watching it. I mean, this is one of the rare ones I had seen beforehand anyway, so I do have a weird little nostalgic memory of it.
Yeah.
But it apparently got like leaked. It was apparently like a massive scandal. The full film got leaked.
I do remember that. I do.
That's why it like bombed and stuff like that because like everyone's
people had already seen it.
I mean, I think considering what's to come, I think this just has to go straight in ink, right? I don't know if is there a worse one than this.
There is. I'd say there is a worse movie than this.
No, you're right. Tell you what,
and like purely for the crime of the way they depicted both Gambit and Deadpool.
Oh yes, you're right.
I think
it's got to.
It's got to.
It does. Yeah, not even Wolverine could save this Wolverine film, which is saying something.
It looked worse as well. Wasn't that one of the things to point out that his claws like looked a lot worse?
Yeah, I think there was CGI, or there was more CGI used rather than. I think a lot of them they just put a thing.
They didn't have like the same kind of shine, and they didn't look like they existed in the world.
Yeah, that was it.
And it was very noticeable. A lot of stuff like that was very noticeable.
It was probably that period where CGI was just being used a lot more in films, and they were just like trying to do
we can do that?
Yeah, it's like, that saves a lot of money. Alright, next on the list, X-Men First Class. I don't know if this is a controversial take or not. This is a contender for one of my favourites. Again, it's one of like 3 that I've seen already.
Yeah.
So I've got that like memory attached to it, but also I just think it's brilliant. I think it is really good. The formation of the team, you get James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender. That era starts here.
Who absolutely carry it from this point on.
They're absolutely, they're so good in those roles. I think we, slightly doubted them at the beginning. Well, we doubted them appearance-wise. I don't think we doubted them performance-wise. But as it goes on, they morph more and more into these characters. Just the team forming together. It's so beautiful. Also, Emma Frost. Kevin Bacon's in this too. What more could you want?
What more could you want?
Out of a movie in general.
It is the one where they kill off Darwin very quickly, and why they do that?
Yeah, that's
his
true.
whole power is being able to survive things, and they just immediately
the character
kill him
that can survive literally anything. That's his whole thing.
off. Just kill him off right away.
Off.
I probably don't like it as much as you like it.
Yeah.
But I think it's solid. It does a really good job of introducing this new cast.
Yeah.
Which I think is always more difficult when they're already established characters and you've already had other actors playing them.
Yeah.
To bring in a whole new crew of actors to portray these characters you're already familiar with. I think most of the cast does a pretty stellar job.
Absolutely. Some of them become the characters more, I think. I'd argue Jennifer Lawrence is a more iconic Mystique.
Yeah.
As good as the original Mystique was, forgive me, I've forgotten her actor's name. I'll put it on the screen.
You'll be on there.
But I think Jennifer Lawrence has become a more iconic Mystique. I don't know if it's just because she was in more or she was a larger role in those films. But yeah, stuff like that. I think some of them are the more what's the word?
They're the more, some of them are
seminal,
definitive kind
definitive,
of
yes, that's what I'm
definitive
looking for.
kind of versions of
Yeah, exactly. So I think it gives us that as well. I'd argue for an A here.
Yeah, I think it helps that you see Jennifer Lawrence's actual face more in it. I don't think in the original series you don't see Mystique's actual face until the third one when
she's a bit more of a soldier in those ones. She's just kind of going out and doing stuff for Magneto, where she's
either in blue mode or she's someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say this floats somewhere around a B and A for me, but I don't think it's. I think it's definitely better than X-Men 3, so I think it's fair.
We'll stick with A then, yeah. It's on a par with the first one.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of the first one of the new stuff. Next up, the Wolverine himself. We're just going to rank the characters.
It's just the character. Easy at the top. Yeah. Easy right up there.
Absolutely.
I mean, what other characters do you need?
You don't need any more. I'd watched 11 films on Wolverine, to be quite honest, which we almost got, essentially. The Wolverine, though. Better than Origins.
Still not.
Still
I'd say
not
still
good.
not great. My immediate kind of thought is this is probably a C.
I'd say C.
Somewhere in the middle. It's not too awful. It's a standalone movie.
It's the definition of run of the mill Wolverine story, where it's he's got a bit of an emotional turmoil going on. He goes and slashes up some people. His healing factor stops working and stuff like that. That seems to happen a lot in Wolverine's plotlines. So it's very run of the mill Wolverine. So yeah, it's not outright outlandishly bad Origins is, but it's very filler episode in the grand scheme of things.
It's a bold choice, I think, to do the whole sort of Wolverine in Japan story, because unless you're a big fan of the comics, and that I assume that's some kind of arc that he went through in there. Yeah. It's a bold choice to kind of take it out of the regular comfort zone and say we're doing something different. We're taking a familiar character, but we're throwing them into an unusual.
Yeah. It's the holiday. It's the holiday episode.
Yeah.
It's the one that they're out of the flat. They go to a different place. We have to build a new set and everything.
It's the Olympics episode where we put a very very important character development storyline. We started off here in the Olympics special.
Yeah, between seasons.
So yeah, I'm thinking it's. I'm happy
to see. I'm happy to land it in C. Yeah. Right, next up, Days of Future Past, a classic.
What a banger! What a banger! Right out of the box. What a banger!
Yeah, right out of the box, fresh, smells good, tastes good. What more do you want from a pastry? Sorry, I'm really hungry.
Sorry, I'm eating. Yeah.
Yeah, just a banger. Bring us together the old and the new. Wolverine's the main character. We've got young and old Xavier. We've got young and old Magneto. We've got some 60s scenes. Time travel plot line. Iceman's in there. Kitty Pryde has quite a big role in this. Rogue isn't in it as much as she should be.
In the Rogue cut, though.
We'll rank the Rogue cut separately.
The Rogue cut gets on a level above.
The Rogue cut we haven't even included. It's unfair to the rest of them, to be honest.
It's just because everything just pales in comparison to the Rogue cut.
Exactly. It's probably our second X, right?
It's gotta be.
It's gotta be.
This has gotta be an X.
I'm happy with that, an X.
I'm in love with this movie.
Okay, next up, Deadpool.
Just Deadpool, just the one.
Just the guy himself.
Guy himself.
On his own adventure here. We didn't do videos on Deadpool because I think we've said in the past, it's already funny.
It's already kind of a comedy.
It's hard to riff on stuff that's already riffing on itself kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we've seen all the Deadpools and I mean they're just great. They're just really solid like meta comedies. I think he's just such a cool unique character in the grand scheme of things. I think a lot of people have gotten a bit tired of Ryan Reynolds' shtick.
There's something about him. He's so charming and captivating that he can just do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, he's cheeky. It's a cheeky,
which is weird. Because I'll criticize The Rock for the same thing, but I don't.
His thing's not as good.
I feel like Ryan Reynolds is not afraid to be a little bit more sort of self-deprecating.
Yeah.
Whereas The Rock always has to be portrayed as the cool, suave action hero. Whereas Ryan Reynolds can be a bit of a loser.
Yeah, exactly. He's not afraid to make fun of himself, whereas I think The Rock is.
Yeah.
Deadpool as a film, just solid. What happens in the first one again? It's his origin.
It's his origin of him becoming there's not really an established proper villain to it. It's just some guy. I don't even remember his name. It's a less sort of traditional superhero kind of movie in that he's not really got a main. He has a main antagonist, but they're all sort of henchman types. Colossus is there to try and set him on the right path, but he's He's a bit of an anti-hero.
He's a bit of an
morally grey.
Maybe this one's a B.
I would say
A.
I think looking back on them, maybe the first one is the weakest.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
But
so I think we have to leave some room for the other ones.
I don't think it's on par with either of these other two.
I
think it's
right
better than this, so I think it is a B. But it's before X-Men 3. It's better than X-Men 3.
I see you've done that. Right. Yeah, if we're reading up like that.
Yeah.
Next, we've got X-Men Apocalypse. This one was just kind of fine. I don't know what the kind of grand consensus is on this. I think that is the grand consensus. This is just another X-Men film.
It's very sort of 50-50 wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Some people think it's pretty good. Some people not so much.
I mean, I thought after seeing Dark Phoenix, this would have been a fine ending for the prequel.
It's a much better finale than Dark Phoenix was.
Yeah. It's also that it's I noticed when looking through them, it would have made that a trilogy as well, which would have been very satisfying.
Yes.
There's the original trilogy, prequel trilogy, Wolverine trilogy. Whereas now the prequels are just kind of
trilogy,
for some reason. It's annoying. So it would have been a bunch of trilogies. That would have been so satisfying. But they had to go and make Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah, Apocalypse, just a big sort of, the villain is very a powerful Egyptian god or something, and he can just turn you all to dust, and that is... We kind of agree that that's a bit boring as a thing.
Yeah, I don't like the incredibly overpowered villains because it's so difficult to write a satisfying conclusion to your face-off with them.
Yeah.
When you've already established the limitations of the characters you've got, and then it becomes the cliche we have to work together to beat them kind of thing. But even then, he was written to not really have any weaknesses. He could counter pretty much anyone's power. But...
Yeah, they were all just coming at him and he was doing whatever.
And it's definitely not Oscar Isaac's definitive Marvel role.
No, you're right. He's since had a better one.
I
mean, I didn't even recognise him through the whole damn film. Yeah. This film confused the hell out of me. If you watch our video about it, I didn't not know who anyone was. I didn't know what was going on most of the time. Didn't know that was Oscar Isaac until the credits. Spent the whole time trying to place Olivia Munn. Just a nightmare. Absolute nightmare of a film, and that's why I think it's an ink tier. No, I think do the same as you did last time. I think it's C, but I think it's better than Wolverine. Do you agree? Or would you go for B even?
I'd actually go low. I might even go lower. I might even think it's a D.
Oh, you think it's worse than Wolverine?
I think it's a bit messy all over. It's one of those movies where, and I don't think you want this from a movie, where one scene stands out as the one thing I remember it for, and that's the Quicksilver Sweet Dreams sequence.
Or the one good bit.
Yeah, that's the one great part of that movie, and then everything else kind of just vanishes from your brain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't feel strong enough about it to argue against that. I'd be happy with it in D tier to fill up the D there.
Yeah.
A little gap.
I think
that's fine by me.
This has got to go there. It's either going to be it's one of those one that verges. It's on the line. It's either high D or low C.
Yeah, Apocalypse and Wolverine are very interchangeable.
Yeah.
For me. They're both the mid ones of their respective trilogies. Right, what's next? Logan. Banger.
Bang! I think we can immediately
we'll just slot that up there.
We'll just pop that up there. We know where it's going.
Beautiful film. The first time we watched it, for me was the video, and we recorded at like 2 a.m. or something.
Yeah,
I think we started recording at 2 a.m.
Did.
It is like
maybe
a
Apocalypse and this right.
I think we did it the
next to
same
each other,
night.
Yeah,
because we were seeing Deadpool and Wolverine the next day. And
yeah.
we had to finish it. So I was pretty out of it. That video is quite delirious, but overall a beautiful film, a beautiful send off for our favorite X-Man, and the introduction of little Laura is great. I think Daphne Keane is great. It was cool to see her back in Deadpool and Wolverine as well.
Just overall cameo as well. Always puts you up at least a tier or two.
I think it's a role. It's a starring role.
That's a cameo.
Little cameo there from Stephen Bruce.
He just appears every so often.
Just in a few scenes. Richard E. Grant is in this as well, and we love Richard E. Grant.
I feel like I haven't seen him in too many villain roles, but I think he really excels.
He's great at it. I think he's got the look for being villainous.
Yes, yeah.
No, in a nice way, Richard, if you're watching. Mr. E. Grant. Yeah, he's got that proper intimidating...
Like intelligent, cold, calculated. He can do that so well.
Yeah, and he did it in this film very well. Easy X, one of the best ones there is out there. It feels like a step above a comic book film to me as well. Just the way it's directed, and it's a bit more violent. There's a bit more swearing. Like, you kind of think of superhero films, although they're full of violence and fighting, it's comic book violence.
It's
like
the punches and they put the biff.
It's like PG film, quite a lot of it.
This is actual violence.
This is proper, it feels like a proper movie compared to some of these other ones.
That's what they tried to do with Kraven the Hunter, except they forgot to make the rest of the film good as well.
Yeah.
They thought just the violence and the language was all you needed.
That makes it a good film, right, guys?
Makes it good. You like Logan, didn't you? You're really going to like this one. Stabs a lot of people. That's what you want, guys.
Do you guys like that?
See? You like Logan.
Guys?
You like Logan?
Guys, please.
Come on.
You like Logan? do we have to kill?
Why are you leaving?
Do we have to kill?
Why are you leaving? Guys, you paid money to see this.
And then we've got Deadpool 2, which is post Logan. I don't know why that's weird to me.
Yeah, because I don't think it's directly I know there's in the opening credits they definitely reference stuff that happens in Logan. Maybe even there's some lines here and there, but they don't really go in depth with it.
Yeah.
Is this the one where he says at the beginning it's like the first Deadpool was like a comedy and this is like a family film? Is the first one's a romance and this is a family film?
Oh yeah, maybe.
Because it puts a lot of the team together. It's like it's him. It's Colossus comes back, Domino, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and Yukio. They all come into it.
Rob Delaney is
Peter.
Great addition to the cast.
One of the only 2 surviving members of the X-Force.
Yeah, that is a great scene. It kind of does, it kind of took what the first one did and kind of does more of it in a bigger way and lets herself do bigger things. Juggernaut, also played by Ryan Reynolds for some reason in this, apparently.
They could get Vinnie Jones back.
Yeah. Just all in a good time. I think it slots nicely in A.
Yeah, I think comedy-wise it's better. Action-wise it's better. Story-wise it's better.
Yeah.
Because the first one is kind of just, it's a revenge story for the most part. Whereas this one, there's more heart to it. It's that he's trying to prevent... is it Russell? I think the kid's name.
Oh, yeah.
He's trying to prevent him from going down a dark path. And
because he's got like a really powerful power or something.
Yeah, he has like these flame powers and like there's the whole future because Cable. You forgot about Cable.
Oh, of course,
Cable's in it. Josh Brolin
again. The more of it's coming back now. I think I was kind of pitching the whole film was just that scene with the truck and Juggernaut. To me, that was the whole.
That was the entire movie. You didn't even get to the Colossus Juggernaut fight at the end.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, he comes smashing through the fucking house. Solid A, nice solid A.
Easy A.
That's another film.
That's a different film.
Could we rank this one?
Yeah, can we just add it on now?
Emma Stone should have been Jean Grey. She'd have been good. Timing's a bit off, I think.
I
think she's too old. Yeah. X-Men, Dark Phoenix. Speaking of Jean Grey.
Yeah, the lesser of the Dark Phoenix storyline movies.
Yes, they did it twice.
So nice they did it twice, but it was not so nice either time.
Yeah, didn't quite nail it. This is just kind of pointless. Like we said, it's a pointless add-on on the end. Could have very nicely ended with Apocalypse. This just feels like it kind of tarnishes that kind of prequel series. So yeah, I don't know. It was kind of boring, and there was maybe some fun moments in there, but overall, like it doesn't have those kind of standout moments that even some of these bad ones have. Like we've said, like even some of these lower tier ones, we remember certain scenes. Or there's like kind of some iconic bits, like the Quicksilver bit, or like Wolverine going to Japan is like a fun concept in itself. Stuff like that. I don't think Dark Phoenix has any of that.
No. I mean, the villain was just an alien. Sorry if that's like a big character in the comic book world. For us casual viewers, like, that means nothing.
For us Kate Blanchett fans, we were very disappointed.
It means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a comic book thing or not, if they made that up, but it was kind of a weird, like... Well, I mean, it wasn't a side plot, I guess. It was kind of the main plot. You know, like, it was just like, why was that there?
Hey, even, like, when they tried to have a bit of an emotional release with, when they kill off Mystique, it doesn't even feel earned.
No, it doesn't at all. It feels cheap.
It just happens, and they're just doing it for shock value.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I said at the time, I genuinely think they couldn't get Jennifer Lawrence
to do the whole thing. She had other commitments, and it's like, okay, we need to just film her scenes and then get her written out as soon as possible.
Yeah, it felt very random. It didn't serve any sort of purpose to do that. I guess what it did do was make some of them go after Jean. I guess that was the idea on that one. But then it's like, I don't know, Jean was already fucking shit up anyway. Didn't have to do that. Didn't have to kill... Oh, beautiful Bleach.
Awful.
Didn't need to do it. This might be ink.
I don't think it's bad.
D, but worse than Apocalypse.
I tell you what, I'm
worse
thinking,
than Apocalypse Fish.
I'm thinking this, and then I actually might change it, move that up, and that's
folks. We've had a change.
Had a change
on the tier list.
Yeah, I think that's a low C. I think that's a definitive D tier.
Yeah,
it's not the worst.
That makes Apocalypse look better by comparison.
But I don't think it does anything egregiously bad to warrant being in the pits, in the hellscape of the annals of X-Men history.
Exactly.
It's bad, but it's not offensively bad.
That's fair. That is fair. It's unmemorable, which is one of the worst crimes of the film. Next up, The New Mutants.
Now, there's one that is offensively bad.
Offensively bad. Just go ahead and blame me.
Yeah, that's...
I don't even want to talk about it.
If I could describe this movie as anything, it's a waste of time. An actual waste of time. I don't think you gain anything from watching it.
No. I had to see so much of this again, editing our video, and I still don't really know what the fuck the point of any of it is. Like,
yeah, can you say you know any of the characters better?
I still haven't learned Jonathan's name.
Time? No.
Some cool ideas in there, but then we said that at the time, and I thought afterwards, well, that's just because they're from the comics, right? Like, these characters exist, these powers exist. Yeah. They had the cool things already. That's not their achievement. They just tried to take those things and do something with them, and it didn't work. So even though these ideas are cool themselves, they don't gel together at all, and it's not like they can even take credit for the cool stuff.
The one thing I guess they can take credit for is translating it into a live action setting. I think the way they did fucking Hellblade's powers, that's not a name, but that
should be. What was her name? It was like Ilyana.
I don't think they didn't really have
names,
proper superhero names. They just did the regular names, which is a big crime.
What did you say?
Big crime.
Hellsword?
Hellsword's better. I said Hellblade, but Hellblade's already like a video game, so...
Oh, okay. Also, there's already a character called Blade out there.
Yeah, and Hellboy.
And Hellboy as well.
She could be Hellgirl. She could be Hellgirl.
Yeah, there was some cool visual... The visual effects on this were fine. I like the demon bear thing going on. The smiling man was cool. There's some little horror elements. It just didn't go far enough with any of them. Didn't commit to any of them.
Because that's what a lot of people, like myself included, got excited about. Was there were reports coming out and they said we're doing a movie set in the X-Men universe and it's going to be a horror movie. It's like, that sounds really cool, and then they didn't, or at least didn't commit to it.
Yeah.
And they just kind of said, whatever. What we've got, just what we've got now. Push that out.
Another victim of reshoots, rewrites,
delays,
redirects,
pushbacks,
all that jazz.
Everything's made it worse.
You know how things like, it's better than the sum of its parts? It's worse than the sum of its parts. The parts are cool themselves. The whole is bad.
You shot some cool bits, and then you didn't realise how those bits were going to fit together.
Yeah.
And then you sort of just kind of pasted them together, stitched them all together, hoping that you get a good film out of it.
It's a horrible Frankenstein of a film.
Awful. That's a monster.
Horrible creature.
Take that out back and shoot it.
We're not even going to rank it on here. I should take it off. Right, last up then, the newest, and this is kind of the crossover to the MCU. So it's we're kind of at the end of this X-Men era now. I don't think they're planning on doing any more of this. Deadpool and Wolverine, fresh out of the box last summer. We like this very much.
Yeah, well, it was a really nice send-off to this franchise.
Absolutely. And it was good to have watched all these really recently and kind of appreciate all the references, all the characters that were popping up here and there from these old 2000s films. Yeah, it was a nice kind of love letter to all this time, because it was, a lot of these are underrated or kind of forgotten gems sometimes.
Yeah, I would have forgotten like a lot of them were even Fox movies.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have been able to tell you that like Fantastic Four was a part of the Fox movies or like Elektra.
And as a film, I think it was a lot of fun. I think it did the multiverse stuff well. I've been a bit critical of the multiverse in the past. I think it did with it what it did well. Did that make sense?
It did with it what it did well. What it did with it. It did well.
I think that's what I meant to say there. I think I said those words.
All the words,
You guys can. I'll fix it in the end. I'll fix it in the end.
Just I think, is this maybe this and Spider-Man No Way Home, and maybe the only two multiverse movies I really like?
Yeah, I think I'd agree.
Because I'm trying to even think what else though. But, like,
Doctor Strange wasn't great.
Doctor Strange wasn't great. Ant-Man Quantumania was not great.
Well, we didn't like Loki. I don't know if we talked about that on the channel.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it much, but like the Loki series wasn't a massive fan of.
Yeah, just so as MCU multiverse phase, whatever the fuck we're in now, films go, this is definitely top of that tier. In terms of X-Men tier, I think again it's an A. I don't think it reaches the height of X for me.
No, when you've got
I think it relies
like Logan up there.
Yeah, I think it relies on a lot of this stuff to fully appreciate it.
You do have to sort of, like you said, Logan is a movie that stands on its own just as a movie. And I think X-Men 2 and X-Men Days of Future Past are like the absolute peak of, seeing the team all together. Whereas, like you said, it's a little too reliant on having that prior knowledge of other stuff. Because a lot of the cool moments are all about, like I said, just the cameos and it being a love letter to those movies. So... it's an A.
It looked like you were going to put it in D there. So
D for Deadpool.
It's a D.
No, that's an A.
That's a nice solid A. Hey, I'll tell you what, it's pretty top heavy considering how much people rag on this series. I think there's a lot more good than bad.
I mean, there's how many movies in total? What, 13, 14 movies?
Right, yeah.
And I'd say everything like B and up is like still is good. You could say is good. I mean, that's X-Men 3 is contentious.
Yeah, that's on the line.
That's sort of the cutoff point. I say from Deadpool upwards, everything you could say is like
it's
actively
definitely good. Yeah,
but even these ones like are not terrible.
No, exactly.
I'd say these three are actively bad. These are just sort of middling. So I'd say overall, like, it's strong. It's a strong series.
Stronger than people give it credit for. I think because it's so messy. That's a big criticism overall. The series is very messy and gets very confusing if you do try and follow the chronology of the universe and
work out
what's
happening. And
that gets a bit muddy post Days of Future Past, obviously, and things get retconned and reset and all that malarkey. But other than that, overall an enjoyable series. I think I enjoyed seeing these characters in action. I do like a lot of the X-Men themselves.
I think maybe the only thing that would drag that there for me is if they put more Toad in it.
That's the problem with this series, is there wasn't enough Toad.
Yeah.
Where was Toad?
Yeah,
guys,
he's here.
He's in 3 of these films at most.
He's here, and I think here.
Yes, he was in that one as well. Young Toad was in that one.
But none of them he's in it enough to push them up.
What I've noticed there, though, is he's only in the top tier ones.
Yeah.
There's a reason they're up there.
You know what else is cool to think about? If you want your movie to be good, make it a time travel movie. Because, Deadpool 2 has a time travel related plot.
Yeah.
Future Past. Endgame.
That's top tier Marvel.
Put a time travel plot in.
If you can do time travel right, you're good to go, people. And that's our tip for the day. Go well into that good night.
That's not. That's
how we end the videos, isn't it? Is that usually how we end the videos? Thank you for watching HAZMAT ranking the X-Men films.
If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see us do more stuff like this in the future, you can support the channel by leaving a like or a comment. You can hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. That way you'll be alerted to all our more recent uploads. And as always, all of our socials will be listed down in the description.
And join us next time where I go on the search for my little boy Toad.
And I'm going to control all the metal in the world, but make it into a big sculpture of Toad.
Yes!
We love him! We love him! Toad! 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 Toad!